Hey everybody, it's Miss Smith. So today we're going to talk about how to name acids. Now this is the last set of rules that you're going to get. You will have a major quiz on Thursday over everything that we have done over the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So it's worth a lot of points. I don't know how many. I haven't even made this quiz yet, so I don't know how many yet, but I do know it's going to be quite a few. So it's probably going to be 50 points or more, probably more actually. And because we just started a new 9 weeks, this quiz is going to have a huge impact on your grade. Now, you will be allowed to use your notes. I normally don't tell you you're allowed to use your notes, but this time I'm going to say that you can. So if you don't have any notes made, you need to go make some notes, okay? Today we're going to talk about naming acids. Tomorrow I will do a very large review over everything. I will reteach it all. I will go over everything all over again. Wednesday, I'm going to have a live lesson on Wednesday. So just be ready for that. It'll be a review again, and then Thursday will be your big quiz. Okay, anyway, so let's get into what we're going to do today. We are naming acids. All right. Now, the first thing that I want to teach you is how to know something is an acid. Okay. If you have a compound with a hydrogen in the front, it's an acid. Okay? Just like how we decided if something is ionic or covalent. It's ionic if it's a metal and a nonmetal. It's covalent if it's two or more nonmetals. You have certain rules for ionic compounds. You have certain rules for covalent compounds. When you have an acid, it's a whole nother set of rules. So when there is an H in the front, it's an acid, okay? So if you ever see an H in the front, like it's the first element listed in the compound, I'm not talking about the name, I'm talking about the formula. Okay, so remember, this is the formula here. If there's an H in the front, that should be a red flag to you. Say, oh, this is an acid. I need to use my acid rules. Now, here are the acid rules. Now that you know how to tell if it's an acid, remember, you're going to have an H in the front if it's an acid, okay? So here are the rules. It's all about what the ion is called. So we're going to take the ion ending, and then here's the acid name. So what we do is we take the name of the ion ending. So for example, IDE versus ITE versus ATE. So chloride versus chlorate, or fluoride versus fluorate. There is a fluorate, but anyway, I don't use that one very often. Okay, so that's what we're getting at here is ide, ite, and ate. Those are three huge differences. So you have to make sure that you identify which one it is. Now, these arrows that I'm going to draw go in both directions. So whether you're naming an acid or writing the formula for the acid, these rules are the same no matter what. Now on your chart and your practice problems for today, the second slide is actually a digital version of these rules. So just so you can have them while you're working. But there are 3 rules. I've got rule 1, I've got rule 2, and I've got rule 3. Okay, so let's get into what you'll actually rename them based on their ion names. Okay, this is going to be hydro, whatever the base is, ic acid. These are 2 words. Let me draw a little bit further out. Acid. This will be whatever the base is, OUS acid. And then this will be whatever the base is, ic acid. Now, if your ion has a prefix hypo, hydro, or per, leave it alone. What I mean is you're still going to use regular acid rules, but don't take those prefixes off that are already there. Don't do that. All right, now, so I've got 3 rules here. So let's go into naming a couple of these. So I'll give you some names. So let's say hydrochloric acid, sulfurous acid, and let's use one with a prefix, perchloric acid. Now, there's only so many acids out there, so after time, these acids kind of start to repeat themselves. So I bet you what I'm going over today, like some of these are in your practice problems for today and in your little mini quiz for today. So if you take good notes, some of your answers may already be in your notes. Okay, anyway, so let's kind of break these down and what I mean by this here. Okay, this is the important part right there. So let's break this down a little bit. So hydrochloric acid. Okay, so let's identify a few things. So I've got hydro paired with ic. Okay, now let's, I talked about hydro up here. The only time that you'll ever have hydro paired with this ic ending here will be on rule number 1. It's the only time that that's going to be paired. The rest of the time it's going to be hydrate or something crazy, hydrosulfurate or something like that. But hydroic acid, that's a very rare pairing and it only happens with rule number 1. So this is going to be rule number 1. All right, the next one. I'm looking at this ending here, OUS acid. This is absolutely rule number 2. Okay, and then per, okay, that's a prefix, just like I've got up here, that's a prefix. And then I have the ic here. Now that per prefix can be paired with the ic acid, then that one's okay. But this per ending here, that's going to be rule number 3. Really, like whenever, for our purposes, I guess I can go ahead and erase this. For our purposes, hydro will never be one of the prefixes that you leave alone. I don't ever give you any one of those that we're talking about that would use hydro as a prefix. So I guess I'm just going to take that off just to, take out some confusion. So sorry about that. All right. So all you need to know is if you see hydro, it's rule number 1. Okay. We're never going to deal with one. I never ever give you one where hydro is a prefix and needs to be left alone. I'm not going to give you one of those, so I'm just going to leave it off. But this hydro will always be rule 1. Okay, now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through how to write the formula for these. Okay, so what you do, and I'm going to bring some of these down a little bit so we have a little bit more room. Okay. Now, hydrochloric acid, we decided that that was rule number 1. Okay. So rule number 1, if we're going to go backwards, we're going this way. Okay, we're going backwards because we're writing the formula. Since I'm going that way, that means that it was chloride. So all I did was I took the base here and brought it down. So that was called chloride ion is what that was. Now, the formula for chloride ion is Cl minus. We know that. We've been doing that for a couple of weeks now. Now, the only thing you have left to do is to add your H and put it together. Okay, so how do you make something an acid? You put an H in the front. Here it is. There's your H with this little plus sign. Put them together, you get HCl. And that's hydrochloric acid. Okay, so let's try this with another one, the one for rule 2. So I'm going to take this and move it down. Oh, I got the box in there. Let's try this again. Come on, do your job. There we go. Okay. So we said that this was rule number 2. Okay, so rule 2 is OUS acid, and it turns into ITE ending. So this, you take the base and you add that ITE ending. So it was sulfite is what it was. Okay, now wait, you know, some of you are probably like, wait a minute, Miss Smith, you didn't put the UR in here. Okay, really, again, it's just whatever sounds right. Look, if you figured out that that was sulfite, but you spelled it sulfurite, I'm cool with that because you figured out it was sulfite. I'm good, okay? So just calm down, it's fine. Okay, so that is sulfite ion. Now, the formula for sulfite, if you go to the back of your periodic table, I actually don't have that one memorized. Hold on. SO3 2 minus. Okay. Again, we figured out what the ion was. Let's make this thing an acid. Let's slap an H on the front. Now, up here, what I didn't show you is that you're still doing what you did before on ionic compounds where you cross and go down, but these two are multiples of each other, so they just disappear. Not multiples of each other. They are equal but opposite, so they just disappear. This one is not, however. So we're still going to cross and go down. So your answer is H2SO3. That is your formula. Now, this next one we said was rule number 3. Okay, so the per was a prefix that was already there, so I'm going to leave it on there. And so rule number 3 was 8. So this ion name is perchlorate. So the per actually becomes part of the base name. So this is perchlorate ion. The formula for perchlorate ion is ClO4 minus. Throw that H on there to make it an acid. These are equal but opposite charges, so my formula is HClO4. And that's it. Okay, so let's work these backwards. So when we did these 3, we did them going this direction on all 3 of these. Let's go the other way. Let's give a formula and then find the name. Okay, so let's do 3. I'll do H2SO4. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, this is a good one. HC2H3O2. And, oh, this is a good one. Well, I don't like that one. I guess we could do that. H2CrO4. Okay. Now, all you do whenever you're given a formula is take the H off. Okay? So then you got to put this back up here, and that becomes SO4 2 minus. Well, if you look at the back of your periodic table on that list, this is called sulfate ion. Oh, there's an ATE. That's rule number 3. So all you do now, go back up to rule number 3. It's ATE. We're going this direction now. That's ATE. That means it's going to be an ic acid. Okay, so that is sulfuric acid. Okay, that's it for that one. This one, you've got the formula. Take the H off. Put whatever it is here back up there. So that's C2H3O2 minus 1. That is called acetate ion. Oh, that's another ATE. So rule number 3 is ic acid. So this is acetic acid. That's 2 words. Acetic acid. All right, the next one. Take the H off. Put this back up there. CrO4 2 minus. Well, CrO4 2 minus, I don't know that one. I think it's chromate. Yes. That is called chromate ion. So again, that's an ATE. So it becomes chromic acid. Okay, so let's do one more. Actually, let's do 2 more. What if I gave you one that looks like this? Okay, take the H off, put this back up there. That's just F minus. F minus is not going to be found on that list on the back side of your periodic table. This is monatomic. This is one atom. That's on the front side of your periodic table. It's on the periodic table. F minus is called fluoride ion. IDE is rule number 1. Okay, so we are headed in this direction. So hydroic acid, so hydrofluoric acid. Okay, one more. Let's do NO2. Okay, hold on. I got to put this together real quick. HNO2. This is a really great one. Okay, take the H off. Whatever's here, put it back up there. So that becomes NO2 minus 1. That is called nitrite ion. That's on the back side of your periodic table. Look, if y'all are having an issue finding what these ions are called, it's on the periodic table or on that list on the back. That like little thing in the sheet protector that I gave you. If you don't have one by now, you should have one. Okay, but this thing, you hear this thing? Okay, it's on here. Don't make it up. Don't just try to put crap together. Don't do that. Find it on the list and write it down. It is there, I promise you. Okay, there was the one exception with bicarbonate. I apologize for that. I thought that was on there. Sorry. Okay, anyway, nitrite ion. So that is an ITE. That is rule number 2. And so if we go back up to rule number 2, that is OUS acid. So that becomes nitrous acid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now. These rules, write this on your periodic table. Okay, do it. The periodic table with the highlighted ones, because you need the highlighted ones for this quiz on Thursday. Write this on your periodic table somewhere. I'm giving you permission. Do it. Okay, you need these. Okay. How do you know something's an acid? There's an H in the front. How do you make something an acid? You put an H in the front. All right, so let me give you a couple. I'll give you 2 where you have to give me the name, 2 where you have to give me the formula. Let me go ahead and write them down. I do want you to stop. I want you to test yourself, okay? This is how you self-assess. If you don't get these right, you do need to stop this video and do this. If you are not doing this when I tell you to, you are not helping yourself, okay? A lot of you have been coming to me, Miss Smith, I don't get it, okay? It's because and you even admit to me, yeah, I don't watch your videos, Miss Smith. Okay, that's number 1, that's your problem. You're not watching the videos. 2, some of you may be watching my videos, but you're not listening to them and you're not pausing the videos to test yourself, okay? Some of your issue is that you don't have confidence in what you're doing. A lot of you know how to do this. You have figured it out, but you're not confident in yourself and you keep doubting. Here is how you know. So stop these videos when I tell you to and work out these problems. If you don't get it right, so what? Nobody's going to know but you. If you want to ask me a question, then that's the time you ask me a question. Okay, so let me give you 2 examples of each. Let's say carbonic acid, and give me the formula. I don't like that one. Let's see. Hydroiodic acid. Give me the formula. Okay, and then let's do HNO3, and let's do, give me the formula for that one. And then H2SO3. And give me the name for that one. Excuse me, give me the name for this one. Okay, here's the 4. Pause the video, work them out. All right. So hopefully by now you've worked out all 4 of these. So carbonic acid, that's ic acid. So that means that's rule number 3. Rule number 3 is going to be 8. So this was carbonate ion is what it was. Carbonate's formula is CO3 2 minus. To make something an acid, put an H in the front. You're going to cross and go down like you always do for an ionic. So H2CO3. Okay, that's the formula for carbonic acid. The next one, hydroiodic. So there should be an O here. Hydroic. Okay, that's the rule number 1. So this was called iodide, is what that was called, iodide ion. And that is just I minus. Add your H up front to make it an acid. That becomes HI. HNO3. Take the H off. Whatever's here, put it back up top. That is NO3 minus 1. That is called nitrate ion. ATE is rule number 3. So that rule number 3 is ic acid, so nitric acid. That's a very dangerous acid. I do not like dealing with that one. Take the H off. Whatever's here, put it back up there. SO3 2 minus. Add your H up front. Oh no, I need the name, not the formula. Don't need to put the H up front. I got carried away. SO3 2 minus is called sulfite. Yeah, sulfite ion. ITE is rule 2, so it becomes sulfurous acid. Okay, if you are lost and you don't know what to do, if you are just grasping at straws here, the ions, what they are, what the formulas are, and what the names are what determines which rule you use, okay? So going back up to these rules, these 3 rules are very important, okay? But whatever the ion is extremely important. So if you're stuck and you don't know what to do, figure out what the ion is, okay? That's the key right there, is figuring out the ion. If you can figure out the ion, then you can just use these rules and you're good to go. Okay? If you have any questions, you know where to find me.